Do you smell that? It smells like money. It smells like $1,000 cash. Can you smell it? Can you smell it? All right, let's get real for a minute. So this is $1,000 cash. And yes, this is a lot of money. Let me tell you, there was a time in my life where I don't think I ever thought that I would be holding $1,000 cash, yet alone having $1,000 in my checking or savings account. Having $1,000 in the bank just seemed absurd to me. I didn't make a lot of money. I had poor spending habits. And in college, I was pretty much broke. But thankfully, I got a job as a financial advisor and I started to learn the importance of saving and investing for the future. Eventually, I was able to save $1,000 and then make my first $1,000 investment. So if I was investing $1,000 today, these are the top investments that I would look at to invest this money and grow it for the future. So when I finally reached a point where I had accrued $1,000 to invest, I had a bit of an unfair advantage because I worked in the financial industry with investments. I worked with people that had investments. So I had a rough idea of what to do. But let me tell you, it took a long time for me to get to have $1,000. And I actually didn't accrue $1,000 until after I was deployed to Iraq. Once I graduated college, I had student loan debt, I had credit card debt, I didn't have a control on my spending. So it wasn't until I was deployed overseas where I could finally pay down that debt and then save enough to be able to invest. And that's the first thing I want to talk about, what to do with $1,000. If you finally have $1,000 and you want to invest, if you want to put it in the market, you want to put it into a business, I want to say hold up, hold up. If you have any debt, student loan debt, credit card debt, you don't want to be thinking about investing quite yet. At least taking that full $1,000 and investing it. You want to take that money and pay off that debt. It's so hard because we want to see that money grow. We want to see it go from $1,000 to $2,000 to $5,000 to $1 million. But as long as you are struggling with debt, as long as you are drowning in that debt, it's going to be so hard to ever get ahead. Because if you start off your life and you have $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 of debt or more, you're just never going to get ahead because you can't make any interest as long as you're paying interest on all this debt. You have to pay that debt. And even more importantly, you have to understand why you got in debt in the first place. If it was taking out student loans because you had no one to help pay for college and that was your only option, okay, that's different. But if you got $20,000 of credit card debt because you like to buy stuff or too much crap, then you better get a handle on that first, because as long as you keep charging up more debt, I don't care how much you invest, how much you save, you're always going to be paying interest on that debt and you're always going to be struggling. So get rid of the debt first. All right, the second thing you want to do, and this is so boring, I apologize, as a financial planner, I have to say this, but you want to keep something in cash. We've all heard of an emergency fund. This is where we're going to keep 3 to 6 months of our monthly expenses, and we're going to keep that in cash in either a checking or savings account. And you want that just in case something happens, because guess what? Life happens. But for me, an emergency fund is not just for emergencies. It's for something more important. It's for having freedom. So instead of calling it an emergency fund, I call it a freedom fund. Freedom! So why do I call it a freedom fund? Do you know how many times I come across a situation where somebody is in a job that they hate, or they're stuck in a housing situation that they want to get out of, but they can't do anything because guess what? They either have too much debt or they have no cash on hand. So they're stuck in that situation. By accruing more money in that freedom fund, having more cash on hand, that gives you the freedom to do what you want. So if you have a boss that's a jerk and you just want to tell him to shove it, then you can do it because you have cash in your freedom fund that you can fall back on until you find that new job. That freedom fund gives you the power to do what you want, travel what you want, occasionally buy things that you deserve. Just don't get too crazy with that. Don't buy too much crap. instead of using credit cards or other types of debt that's just gonna suck you down. The best places to keep that freedom fund, if you've got a local bank or credit union that you love, go there. There are also a ton of online options that are gonna pay you a decent interest rate. Now, rates right now are stupid low, like low, boo low. But that doesn't matter. It's not about how much interest you're making on your freedom fund. It's about having it liquid, having it ready when you need it. Now, Jeff, I thought you said we're gonna talk about investing. Are you getting to that yet? I am. Thanks for being patient. We're ready to go. Now that we got our debt in check, our freedom fund in place, it's time to invest. And as a financial planner, this is how I would suggest that you invest. This is how I started personally, and I think it's a great way to get your feet wet when it comes to investing. Now, there are different things that you can invest into. We can do stocks, we can do mutual funds, we can do ETFs, we can do penny stocks, we can do options, we can do Forex trading, we can do everything. There's so many options. But to me, the best thing that you want to start with is either a mutual fund or an ETF. So instead of trying to pick that perfect stock, which you won't, I promise you, you will fail. It won't happen. By investing your money into a mutual fund or an ETF, you're getting access to individual stocks. You're just getting fractional shares. So for example, if you put your money into a stock mutual fund, you may have 50 to 100 different stocks in that one mutual fund. But the best part is that you don't have to pick what those stocks are. So you're not in charge of buying and selling when it's time to get out or when it's time to get in. By using these investments, you're going to get access to a professional money manager that's going to select these stocks for you. So they're going to buy them and sell them on your behalf and either make you money or prevent you from losing your butt. And the best part is that you don't have to do anything. You just sit back and let the money roll in. So for me, when I started investing, I didn't know enough about the stock market to choose the right stock. I didn't know much about any other type of investment other than putting my money into a mutual fund. And that's what I did. Now, I will tell you, it was not the best mutual fund. It was okay, but it wasn't great. But I learned a lot just by getting all the literature that you get, all the paperwork from opening that investment, and you start to see what they're actually holding. Just by going through that experience of owning my first investment, I learned so much. From there, eventually, I started buying individual stocks. Now, I don't own a ton of individual stocks, but the ones I have bought, I've made a decent amount of money on. And I've also lost my butt on a few too. I just don't like seeing people start with stocks because if you get burned and you get burned badly, then you may never invest again. And if this is your first $1,000, do you really want to see it go up in flames? If you're looking for some good options to get started with investing, check out sites like Betterment, Ally Invest, Robinhood, Acorns. These are all online investment companies or apps that allow you to get started. And the best part is that you can get started with $1,000 or even less. And don't worry, working with any of these places is nothing like this.
You mean to tell me that if I put you in at Union Carbide at a 7, it took you out at 32?
Texas Instruments at 11 and took you out at 47?
US Steel at 16, took you out at 41? You wouldn't be saying to me right now, Chester, pick me up a few thousand shares at Disney on the spot right now, come on.
All right, so the fourth option is one that I've been really excited about over the last 4 or 5 years. And this is called peer-to-peer lending. Now, if you know how banks make money, they loan money to you and then you have to pay them interest plus loan fees, origination fees, paperwork fees, fees. So how nice would it be? Instead of paying the interest to the bank, you become the bank and now you collect that interest. And that's exactly what peer-to-peer lending is. But instead of loaning your money to one person, you're going to loan that to many different people in the form of a microloan. Peer-to-peer lending allows a platform where you can connect with other people that need loans and then you can invest in them and collect that interest. Some of the top peer-to-peer lending companies are Lending Club and Prosper, and I have accounts with them both. I really don't have a preference one way or the other of which one to choose. I like them both, but what I even like better is getting that interest check. With Lending Club, I've averaged just about 6.5% since I've opened the account. And I know that you can maybe make more in the stock market, but what I like about it is that I'm just getting the interest. Give me that interest check. Send it to me. I like interest. Give me more interest. So I like it as a stock market alternative from my mutual funds, my ETFs, and my individual stocks. All right, the fifth thing I have to talk about. Now, this is not really an investment, but it's something that I have to mention, and this is the Roth IRA. If you don't know what the Roth IRA is, all you have to know is this: tax-free money. The Roth IRA is a retirement account that you can set up on your own as long as you're making some sort of income. And you can put pretty much anything into it. You can put mutual funds, stocks, ETFs. You place these investments inside the Roth IRA, and any interest or earnings that you make from now until the day that you retire, when you pull them out, you pay zero income tax. Zero. Now, if you're one of those weirdos that likes to pay tax to the IRS, you're not one of those people, right? Then I don't know why you wouldn't want to consider a Roth IRA. So a cool thing with my Roth IRA is that some of the stocks that I own, I bought back in 2008 when the market crashed. And I bought these stocks at a very, very low price. And guess what? All they've done is go up. And now, since they're inside the Roth IRA, if I were to cash those out, if I were to sell, I don't pay any income tax on that gain. That's huge. Now remember, the Roth IRA is for retirement. So this is something that you don't want to put money in that you need short term. But if you're putting money away for the long term and you want to avoid taxes, be sure to check it out. So the next thing you want to consider with your first $1,000 investment, and if you have any aspirations of being an entrepreneur, a business owner, then you might like this one. What about taking that $1,000 and investing it into a business? A business that will continually make you money over your lifetime. Now this is a hard one for many people to grasp, especially if you have no ambition or desire of being a business owner. And I'll tell you, I don't think that I thought this in the beginning. I know when I was in school, I never really expected to own my own business. That wasn't me. I just thought I would ride the corporate ladder, be a nice cushy exec, and just get my handsome salary I didn't have to worry about. But somewhere along the way, I got the entrepreneur bug and I wanted to start my own business. And there are many different ways that you can invest in your business. A good friend of mine is a photographer, and he used to have a Roth IRA, and he wanted to cash that Roth IRA out because he wanted to invest into his business. And what he needed was a new camera, some new backdrops, a new lens, and it was well over $1,000. But when he analyzed how much that would cost versus how much he expected to make because he had better equipment and better things to offer for his clients, he realized that he would make that money back in a short amount of time. And not only that, he would make even more money because he would get more customers and more clients that were willing to pay his fee. Other than my financial planning practice, the business that I loved investing money into was my online business. And for me starting out, that was my blog. And guess what? That didn't cost me $1,000. That was a fraction of that. All I needed was a domain, a customized theme, some graphics, a hosting account, and someone to help me get it installed. I think in all, I spent about $500 to get my website set up. Now granted, this was back in 2008, so this is over 9 years ago. And it took me a little while to make some money. But I've learned so much from investing that money into my online business to where now my online business yields over $100,000 a month. So for me, it wasn't just a monetary investment, it was that investment of time to learn that skill, to learn a new craft, and to be able to grow that business into what it is today. But for many, it's scary to make that first step. To take $1,000 and invest into a business that you might not understand. But I tell you, how many entrepreneurs out there that have failed their first time, their second time, their third time, their 10th time, but now they're uber successful. I promise you there are stories out there, and I'm one of them because guess what? I failed a ton and I finally figured it out. So if you have a business idea that you want to get off the ground, make a list of all the things that you need to get started. Just a bare bones list of the essentials, not the things that you want, just the things that you need to get that first paying client or to make that first sale. All right, the last investment idea I have is by far, I think, the best. One that we don't think about because we want to put our money in the stock market. We want to put our money into something that we can see it grow tangibly. You know, have an online account where we can see it or get a check in the mail where we can deposit it. But the best $1,000 investment you can make is on yourself. There are so many different ways that you can invest in yourself, and we take ourselves for granted. And I'll tell you, we're kind of good. We got a lot of potential. Yep, I'm feeling kind of good about myself. I'm feeling kind of good about myself. But it doesn't matter where you're at right now in your life. Wherever you are at, you can get better. You can be better. So how do you do that? I think one of the easiest ways that we take for granted is reading books. Boring. Reading books, boring. It's funny because I've had this conversation with my kids and they see all these books in my house and they ask me, Dad, have you really read all those books? And I said, yeah, I have, son, because that is where I've learned so much. There are so many people out there that we want to emulate, that we want to mirror their success, and they've already done it. And they've written what they've done, the struggles that they've had, the way they've overcame those struggles, and they've put those in books to make it easier for us, to give us that roadmap. But there's so many of us that don't take advantage of it. All these great books, all these great stories, all these great practices that we can put in place, but yet we do nothing about it. What's the last book that you've read, and how long ago was it? How much of an impact did it have on your life? Every book that I read, I take away one small nugget that I can use for my life, whether it's for my business or it's for my family or it's for my personal development. I learn so much. Every book makes me that much better. And if you want a really good book, I got one right here, Soldier of Finance. And if you give me some lame excuse that you don't have time to read books because you're too busy, you know, there's this thing called audiobooks. See, I'm listening to a book right now. I'm listening to a book right now. That's how easy it is. See how easy it is? I'm listening to a book right now. I've read, aka listened to so many different books just in my commute to work. If you've got a 10-minute drive or a 10-minute ride in some sort of train or subway car, you've got time to read a book. Stop making excuses. Stop making excuses and read a book. Now, other ways that you can invest into yourself is your education. Now, you can go back to school if you want to get an MBA or a doctorate. There are times that makes a ton of sense. But there's other ways that you can get educated. Maybe there's some certification that you can get in your profession to give you a leg up. So in the financial planning industry, I became what's called a certified financial planner. This took me a year and one of the hardest tests I had to take to get that CFP designation. And getting that designation has set me apart from so many other financial advisors. Now, other ways that you can invest in your education is taking an online course. There are so many courses out there for anything that you want to learn. If you want to learn how to program, how to speak Spanish, or play the piano, guess what? There is an online course that you can take today that will teach you how to do it. For my online business, I've bought courses on search engine optimization, email marketing, webinar marketing, email funnels, so many different courses so I could learn, get that fast track, so I didn't have to waste my time trying to figure it out on my own, which is just silly. That's just silly. All these courses have helped my business grow and grow so much faster than me trying to do it on my own. And another way that you can invest into yourself is through personal coaching. Now, this is something that I kind of dismissed for a long time. And 6 years ago, I started a program called the Strategic Coach. Now, this was more than $1,000, but it was a worthwhile investment for me. And I learned so much just about myself, about what I could accomplish, what my strengths were, and where I should be focusing my efforts. Before then, it was very much a shotgun approach of me trying to figure out how to run my business. And let me tell you, my work life was out of whack. So after going through this coaching program, I saw the importance of having a business coach or a personal development coach. Any type of coach will help you. Too often we get stuck in our own mindset and only have our own experiences to rely on. Having a third party that has a bird's eye view on your life and what you're trying to accomplish is well worth a $1,000 investment. All right, so now you got your $1,000 and you're ready to invest. Now, we've talked about 7 strategies that you can implement today to take this $1,000 and grow it to a whole new level. What are you going to do? What investment are you going to consider? I want to know. Share in the comments below if you're going to make your first $1,000 investment. Or if you've already made your first $1,000 investment, let us and the GFC community know so that we can learn from your experiences. And hopefully not your failures. Hopefully you turned this $1,000 and made it into something. All right, no more talking, time to start doing. Let's take this money and let's go invest. Let's go do it. Today, wait, hold up, wait a minute. Insert Braveheart clip. Freedom. Thanks for being patient, ready to go.